to bring back a feeling of safety in that neighborhood, and we'll continue to work at that day in and day out till we accomplish that. But to give you some idea of the timeline of this case, as much as we can share, this is still very much an active case, and still quite a bit to go before this case ever sees its prosecution. But the items we can share with you today, Chief of Detectives Sam Taylor will be sharing that timeline with you. Thank you.
As the chief mentioned, patrol received a phone call on Tuesday afternoon to check on the welfare. One of the sons had not had an opportunity to contact his mother. He had texted her throughout the day. Obviously, she wasn't responding to text. When he got off work, he went into the residence. He went over to check. When he walked in, he noticed some disorganization in the house that wasn't normal. So he backed out and called the police department. Officers responded within a short period and went in and found the victims, both of them upstairs, and they were already deceased. Notified detectives. My detectives responded, and we started the investigation from that point. As the chief said, this has been we haven't gone home. This has been close to a 48-hour straight through investigation. The crime scene, as you can imagine, was absolutely horrific. So the crime scene folks had to work diligently. In fact, we still have the house. We haven't turned the house back over to the family yet. The post-mortem examination is occurring sometime today, and once we feel comfortable that Dr. Nelson has everything that he needs, then we'll begin the process of turning the home back over to the family so they can begin the healing process. As the chief mentioned, the healing process is going to take some time. We did what we can to bring the family some closure. The detectives and the crime scene folks have worked very hard to do that, but this is going to be a long process, not only for the family, which is our main concern right now, but for also the entire neighborhood. That's a very nice neighborhood down there. No neighborhood deserves the unspeakable tragedy that occurred there. During the course of the investigation, I'll answer your questions. I'm sure you guys have some questions, but we were able to develop the suspect, as the chief mentioned. This gentleman right here, we were able to develop Mr. Walden as a suspect. We were able to put our hands on him last night around 6 o'clock. We served an arrest warrant where he was staying at the Relax Inn on Lakeland Hills Boulevard. Brought him out of the room, placed him in custody, and brought him down to the station for some questions. Once we're done with the question process, you're going to get a copy of the affidavit that we were able to get a judge to agree to. He was charged with 10 felony counts to include first-degree capital murder. So with that, obviously it's very early in the investigation. There's still a lot of work to be done as far as locating video. We've got quite a bit of evidence, obviously enough to put him in jail for 10 felony counts, but there's still a lot to do yet. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you have.
How did he do it and why?
How did he do it? We think that it was a random act. We don't, as far as we know, we have not been able to locate any relation between him and the victims. There may, in fact, be some relationship that we're able to determine down the road, but we do not, at this point in the investigation, have any reason or any reason to believe that he knew either one of the victims at all.
How did you pinpoint him as a suspect?
We received information from some folks from a source that called us, and we were able to link that source up. The source was close enough to him that we had conversations throughout the day with him. The source was able to provide us some information that gave us a comfort level that this was the guy. There were some items that were taken out of the home that only the person that committed the crime would know, and this guy was able to describe those items that he saw our suspect in possession of, which led us to believe that this was we had a comfort level that this was the guy.
So was he intent robbery?
There were some items taken out of the house, jewelry items and some personal items that were taken out of the house. So that's our theory right now, that it was a robbery.
Were they stabbed to death?
They were, yes.
You believe he just picked them at random, just walking down the street and chose a house?
He did not add any clarity in his statement as to how he ended up in the house. In fact, he denied ever being in the house. So right now, yes, we believe that he found the house and went in through an unlocked or unsecured door. There's no signs of forced entry to the residence.
This is not his first rodeo. He has a long history. What is that?
He has a history of some domestic violence charges. He also has a history of some burglaries, some trespassing, some resisting arrest, some driver's license, driving charges, driving with a suspended driver's license, things of those sorts. So he just got out of prison on a burglary charge, I believe, in 2016.
This report says he stole their vehicle as well. Were you able to recover their vehicle?
Yes, he did. There were two vehicles at the residence. There was a red Mercedes that was still at the residence when we got there. There was a white Audi, a 2016 white Audi A6 that was not at the residence when we got there. We were obviously very interested in locating that Audi, so that's where we were focused on for the most part yesterday during the day, in Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. We were able to locate the Audi like 8 o'clock, I believe it was, on Tuesday evening. It was had been set on fire off of Oregon Avenue.
And did he attempt to set the house on fire as well?
We believe he did. When the officers entered the residence, all the appliances were gas, or the stove was gas rather, and every single burner was on, and the oven was on, and all the burners were on. We think he left it that way in an attempt to burn the house down to cover up the evidence that was there.
Can you talk about the rarity of a random crime like this?
Yes. I've been doing this almost 32 years, and I can count on one hand the number of times that that the victim has no relationship, or we can find no nexus between the victim and the suspects. So it's extremely rare for something like this to occur. So, and I'd make another comment on that because of the rarity of it. That's why we have a comfort level that these things very, very seldom occur. You know, and this was just an unfortunate set of circumstances that he picked that house. You know, it's a very rare act, and most of the time there's some sort of the victim knows the suspects in some way. They're business partners, or they work together, or they're married, or there's some professional or personal relationship. And as I said, as of this morning at 10 o'clock, we haven't been able to find that nexus. Now, we may at some point make a nexus between those two, but as of this morning we haven't. But yes, it's extremely rare for that to occur.
Do you know what the Hendersons were doing in the morning and what time?
We have a pretty good feel for it. Yeah, we believe that Mr. Henderson had gone to a local restaurant here to pick up breakfast for him and his wife. I think he had gone for a walk. We have witnesses that saw him walk the lake early in the morning. He was a fairly, from what we're being told, he liked his routine, and he was did pretty much the same thing just about every day. So we were able to locate the fact that he went to a local restaurant, picked up breakfast, brought it back. It appeared that he was in the process of setting up the breakfast. There appeared to be a two place setting set up in the kitchen downstairs. It's, I believe, a 3-story. Is that right, Trace? 3 stories? Yes, a 3-story home. In the first floor where the kitchen was, there was a table. There were 2 meals set up, two sets of spoons and forks and knives, and 2 drinks, a cup of coffee, and then another drink. And the meals were still wrapped in a bag, 2 meals in a styrofoam wrapped in the bag. So we believe that he came home after buying breakfast, and that his wife was already had been killed upstairs. When he couldn't raise her, we think he probably went upstairs to find out what was going on, not knowing obviously what had occurred, where the killer was still up there, and a struggle ensued between those two, and then he ended up subsequently being killed as well.
When people think of Lakeland in that area, that's a very safe, upscale, very nice neighborhood. I mean, what do you tell residents about being vigilant, being aware of their surroundings and doors
Sure.
being locked? I mean, because you just wouldn't think that would happen in the Lake Morton Historic District.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it would happen anywhere in the city of Lakeland. You know, Lakeland, for all intents and purposes, I know we have a lot of businesses and a lot of people here, but for all intents and purposes, we're still a small town. We are. And these were 2 folks that are very well loved. I mean, they went to Lakeland High School, graduated from Lakeland High School. Obviously, a city commissioner. She has ties in the community. So This is a gut punch. This hurts. This is I knew her personally. I worked with her on the city commission, so it's tough. But having said that, we're still a very safe city. We've got a lot of professionals that work very hard every single day to keep the city very safe. I see it. We experience it every day. So I would encourage the citizens to not let this incident define us. It's a tragedy. We'll get through it. We'll grieve. But we'll get through it, and the sun will come up tomorrow. We'll do the best we can to wrap our arms around the family, and and do the best we can to make it better. And this is just the first step. Putting this guy in jail.
Was he homeless? Did he live around the lake? Or?
He had the address he gave us was on Herschel. That he has some relatives. I believe it was his mother that lived somewhere on Herschel. But at the time, he was basically staying with friends and hotels to hotel. He told us we actually arrested him out of the Relax Inn on Lakeland Hills Boulevard. The previous location he was at the Lake Wire Inn on Florida Avenue.
Has he been cooperative with you? Has he spoken to you at length about what transpired?
He made some. I wouldn't want to quantify him as confessions. He made some admissions relative to everything but the homicide. He made some admissions relative to attempting to cash a check. He made some admissions relative to using the credit cards. He made some admissions relative to burning the car, but he didn't make anything significant statements concerning the homicides. So.
Did he injure her in any other way?
Other than stabbed her, that's the only thing that we know so far. That'll be determined mostly at the autopsy today, if there's any other injuries. I know what your question is. I know what you're asking, but we don't know that.
Are you all sure he was acting alone?
Are we sure? I don't know that I would say. I don't know that I would say we were sure. We're fairly confident, but again, we're early, and we may have additional information that comes forward that lets us know that he was not alone. So.
Sam, when was the car found again, and can we get a picture of the car that's been burned?
Yeah, we can get you a picture of the car. The car was found on Oregon Avenue, which is over by the Southwest Softball Complex on the west side of Lakeland, in a field.
And the bodies were in the bedroom or what room upstairs?
The bedroom, master bedroom, upstairs.
How's the family doing? I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's tough on everybody. Not only the family, it's obviously doubly tough on them. But like I said, these folks were deep seated in the community. They graduated. They were she was a commissioner here, so they're putting one foot in front of the other, and they wanted to be here today. They just didn't think they could get through it. So they gave a statement that I'll give to you at the very end. But that's about as much as they could muster up today, which is understandable. So. Anything else? You guys are good. Let me read this statement from the family. This is from the family. They asked us to read this in lieu of them being here. But they said they wish to thank everyone at the Lakeland Police Department, detectives, and everyone that has helped out over the past few days to help them understand this tragic event. Your diligence and continued effort in bringing those responsible to justice is deeply appreciated. We are comforted to know that a suspect has been apprehended, but nothing can truly compensate for the loss to our family and to our community. We appreciate all the thoughts and prayers from family and friends and the entire community. We truly feel the love and support, and we are forever grateful that the support and respect for privacy during this time will be respected. And that is from Todd and Sarah Bayless and Will Henderson, and we can get you a copy of that as well, so you guys can look that verbatim. So, all right.
Did Mr. Boynton see anything?
Did he see anything? Is that what you're asking?
Hear anything?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Not that I'm aware of. I didn't interview him, so he was interviewed, but I didn't interview him, so not that I'm aware of, no. So, thank you guys for coming out. I know this has been a tragic event for Lakeland, but as I said, the sun will come up tomorrow. We'll get through it. Those folks in the back of the room, I want to personally thank them for their efforts. it's traumatic on the family, and we'll never know the pain they're going through. But you know, these guys and the folks in the crime scene live this. You know, this is what they do. They're professionals. I'd stack them up against anybody in the state. You know, every single day and twice on Sunday. But those guys did a tremendous job. This was a true, as we say, whodunit originally, but they continued to work and work and work. And within 24 hours, we had somebody in jail, and he's been charged with 10 felonies, as I said. So this is our guy, and we're going to continue to investigate. And if there's additional people, we're going to go get them as well. So thank you guys for coming out, and we'll get you copies of anything you need. So thank you guys.